welcome to another episode of Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Codo, aka Codo Man. Well, Christmas is already over, so are there any leftover Christmas films I can talk about before the new year kicks in? Well, how about Home Alone 2? Why Home Alone 2? Well, because it came out in 1992, which is also celebrating its 30th anniversary as well. Yep. Yep. For this episode's topic, I'm going to talk about Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Although I refer to it as Home Alone 2, but Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. I mean, I can understand that. The second Home Alone film, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, is a 1992 American comedy Christmas film, or an American Christmas comedy film directed by Chris Columbus, who directed the first film, and is being written and produced by John Hughes, who also contributed to the first Home Alone film that came out in 1990. And this is also, as I mentioned, Home Alone 2 is actually the second film in the Home Alone franchise. The film has the same cast as the first film, particularly Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, John Hurd, with new additional characters including Tim Curry and Brenda Fricker. Plus you got Catherine O'Hara returning as Kevin McAllister's mom. So the Home Alone sequel, Home Alone 2, follows Kevin McAllister as he is separated from his family on their holiday vacation to Florida, this time in New York City. So basically, Kevin is not at the house, but he is all alone in New York City, where he has another encounter with the Wet Bandits, also known as the Sticky Bandits, according to Marv, after their escape during a prison riot. So yes, that is basically similar to the first film, although the only difference is it takes place in New York City for Kevin McAllister, while for his family, they're in Miami, Florida. So anyway, John Hughes finished writing the film in February of 1991. Principal photography took place between December of 1991 and May of 1992 and was done on location in Illinois and New York, including at the Rockefeller Center and the original World Trade Center, to which I'll get to that part pretty soon. The film Home Alone 2 Lost in New York was released in theaters on November 20th, 1992, with a 2-hour runtime on a budget of $28 million. And it received mixed reviews from critics who, obviously enough, praised the performances of the cast, while criticizing its darker tone and violence, as well as its similarities to the first film. And to be fair, I can understand where the critics are what the critics are saying, particularly with the fact that the sequel does have similar plot lines to the first film, particularly the fact that, one, Harry and Marv are in this film, although this time they're not being wet bandits flooding people's houses while robbing houses. They're actually stealing money from toy stores, particularly Duncan's Toy Chest. Kevin McAllister, on the other hand, is lost in New York City while being all alone. So that's a little similar to the first film, but as I mentioned, he's not at home. He's in New York City. Plus, another reason could be also they also use the traps, like the traps from the first, like in the first film at his house, but which is not at his house this time around. It is at one of Kevin McAllister's uncles, who has a what looks to be an apartment house, a house on the street, or an apartment or something that is being renovated, and Kevin McAllister recreates some of the similar traps from the first film, but with a little different touches to it, if you know what I'm saying, because the only difference with the Kevin McAllister doing the traps at his uncle's house or an apartment being renovated is that it's being renovated, so it's kind of getting torn apart while being trying to get put together, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, the film itself is 30 years old, and I thought I wanted to talk about it because it is a fun film. I mean, despite being similar to the first film, I still like the film. I mean, I know Home Alone 2 Lost in New York is not, it's not for everybody, and I can understand that. But over time, it's still a pretty good film. From my point of view, I still see it as a fun Christmas film to watch over Christmas time. Let's just be fair. The original Home Alone film that came out in 1990 is a classic. I mean, it wasn't even perfect to begin with. A lot of people had mixed thoughts about the film too, particularly with the slapstick and the violence that's going on, mainly because of the traps that are being presented in this film. But over time, the original Home Alone film got better and better, and many people consider it to be a Christmas classic. Maybe not the best Christmas film, but one of the best Christmas films. I mean, just saying, it's one of the best, not the best, one of the best Christmas films for the original Home Alone film. Now with the sequel, it's up there. I mean, it's not one of the best sequels, but it's obviously it's obviously the best sequel in the Home Alone franchise, aside from Home Alone 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh my goodness, the Home Alone 6, that little Disney abomination that came out in 2021. By the way, I reviewed Home Sweet Home Alone last year, so if you want to check out my review of Home Sweet Home Alone, it is on the WEIU website, weiu.net, under radio and through other WEIU podcasts. Episode 80, Home Sweet Home Alone. That is my review of Home Sweet Home Alone, which is episode 80 on the WEIU website, under radio and through other WEIU podcasts, under Codo's Cinema. Although it's now referred to Codo Cinema, but when you get to that website, it's Codo's Cinema, but it's obviously called Codo Cinema. I'll leave a link in the description for this episode as well. So anyway, going back to Home Alone 2: Lost in New York. I mean, it's not really much to say, but knowing the fact that yes, Kevin is in New York City this time, but the thing is, he was able to go with his family this time around. So it's a little different to the fact that yeah, his family left Kevin McAllister behind at his home, but now he goes with the family. Well, at the airport, O'Hare International Airport in Chicago. I mean, that's like, yeah, that's actually right up my alley. I'm literally about half an hour to 45 minutes towards O'Hare Airport, I should say. I mean, that's literally right up my alley. But other than that, before that, Kevin McAllister being played once again by Macaulay Culkin, obviously gets into trouble during a school pageant when Kevin's solo gets interrupted by Buzz, but he knocks out Buzz and all the other singers who are singing along with him, basically not only humiliating himself but also everybody involved. And it's just a crazy turn of events, because after that, Buzz makes a fake apology, to which the family accepts, berating Kevin McAllister when he says he retaliated for Buzz humiliating him, and then Buzz calls him a trout sniffer. Even Kevin McAllister himself insults his family for believing Buzz's lies, and you know what? He was able to let it slide. Doesn't even care about the Florida trip after all for Christmas. And on top of that, the icing on the cake, he makes a rebuttal towards his uncle, Uncle Frank, because he calls Uncle Frank a cheapskate. Like, actually, the quote itself is like, oh, wouldn't spoil your fun, Mr. Cheapskate. And this is going towards Uncle Frank, because in the first film, when Kevin McAllister messed up the pizza night dinner in the first film, Uncle Frank calls Kevin McAllister a little jerk, and the rebuttal was basically Kevin McAllister calling Uncle Frank a cheapskate in front of the entire family, and the entire family was left speechless. I mean, that's technically a rebuttal. Oh my goodness. That's literally a rebuttal for the little jerk line, if you know what I'm saying. But but yeah, and then you get the classic mother and mother and son argument about like you'll spend Christmas time alone, maybe at a different location instead of the house. Yeah, that's actually what happened. That's actually what happened. Kevin McAllister was able to spend Christmas in New York City, although the family do come along for that once they realize that Kevin McAllister took his father's credit card. Although he doesn't know, I don't think he realized that it was that it was his father's credit card, because the thing was Kevin McAllister was holding his father's bag because he was trying to get batteries for his recording device in the middle of the airport while everybody's running to their airline gates or something. Well, to fly out of Chicago, and that was actually a big mistake on Kevin McAllister's part. He should have waited until he gets on the plane to put in batteries for his recording device. But you gotta keep up with the plot of the film because Kevin McAllister realizes once he got to New York City, he knows that he got on the wrong flight. He's saying, "Oh no, my family is in Florida and I'm in New York." The same thing with Kevin McAllister's mom when they were at the terminal or were at the location, the baggage claim where they're trying to claim their bags, and Kevin McAllister's mom was like, "Kevin!" and faints because she lost Kevin again, but now lost in New York. You know what I'm saying? It's just hilarious. It's just funny. It's just funny but surprising too, because the McAllisters did it again. They lost Kevin twice. Yeah, they lost Kevin McAllister twice. So anyway, now Kevin is in New York City, and the fact is, he's enjoying New York City so far, and we do get a pretty nice montage of Kevin McAllister going through different locations. He's riding a taxi and going over the one of the bridges. I don't think it's the Brooklyn. I don't think it's the Brooklyn Bridge. It was probably something else. I forgot what bridge it was. It was. I mean, was it probably a different bridge? I don't think it was Brooklyn Bridge or something. But other than that, he was able to go through Chinatown, where he actually bought fireworks that were actually used at the end of the film as I believe it was a beacon or something to alert the police that Kevin McAllister caught the wet bandits, Harry and Marv, and then he looks through one of those like weird telescopes, not with the one eye, but like not with the one lens, but two lenses. He was able to, because he was seeing through those to see the Statue of Liberty, and then we get this, and then there's a shot where Kevin McAllister is on top of the World Trade Center. Now this is where I'm at right now, because in the other versions of Home Alone 2 that they played on TV, particularly with Freeform, of the whole sequence with Kevin McAllister going on top of the World Trade Center was cut out because the reason being because of 9/11, and the fact that this film came out in 1992, and the fact that the whole 9/11 attacks happened in September of 2001 was really it was really difficult. That was like a difficult situation. The fact that Freeform cut that thing out was, I guess you could say just to be safe, but other times, I mean, to me, it almost feels a little how do I say this, inconsistent, because if you listen to the music, you listen to one of the songs. I mean, one of the songs was playing. It was a Christmas song. I forgot what Christmas song it was. It was being played at the start where Kevin McAllister was inside that taxi and about to go into the city of New York City. At the very end, where he was looking at the Statue of Liberty, part of the song cuts immediately to the end, meaning that part of this there was a missing section of the music cut out, because the reason why, because it was edited out due to the due to the fact that the next shot sees Kevin McAllister going on top of the World Trade Center, but we don't see that. But we don't see that on TV, particularly with Freeform, because that's being cut out, and it cuts next to Kevin McAllister's parents talking to one of the police officers, or one of the airline securities in Florida, discussing what happened with the Kevin McAllister. So yeah, and then moving forward, as we get to see Harry and Marv return, being played by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stewart. Love those two guys. Those two guys are awesome. I also like the fact that Joe Pesci tries so hard, particularly going into the whole trap section. He tries so hard not to swear, and that's just makes me laugh. And their plan is to rob Duncan's toy chest in New York City during the nighttime on Christmas Eve, where everybody goes home for their little holiday break. Kevin McAllister checks in at the Plaza Hotel, and he runs into a couple of hotel employees, particularly the fact that we get Tim Curry, Rob Schneider as one of the as two of the Plaza Hotel employees, and Tim Curry was a lot of fun in that film. I'm not gonna lie, he was definitely having fun at that hotel. He was having a lot of fun playing the character inside the hotel, and on top of that, Rob Schneider plays the bellman, the bellhop, and he was funny too. Rob Schneider is funny, including Dana Ivey, who is a desk clerk at the Plaza Hotel, who helps check Kevin McAllister into the hotel. Oh, by the way, Donald Trump even makes a cameo appearance in that film, giving Kevin McAllister's direction to the front of the lobby. Because for those of you who don't know, long before President Donald Trump's election, he was a very popular businessman. He was a businessman who was one of the few business owners, and in this film, Donald Trump is basically the owner of the Plaza Hotel at the time, and fun fact, he allowed director Chris Columbus to shoot the scenes in the hotel lobby in exchange for a cameo in the film, in addition to the standard fee for film productions. So that was kind of like a little Easter egg too, for those who don't know the history of Donald Trump, long before his presidency. So there you go. Now Kevin has a lot of fun at the hotel. He orders room service, and let's be honest, that's not gonna go well on the bill, because at the very end of the film, he spent over $900 on room service. And of course, I mean, he was able to get a limousine with cheese pizza, gets a ride to Duncan's toy chest. He even scares off Tim Curry with an inflatable clown of his own. Nice little hint that Tim Curry will later play a scary clown in the It film. I believe that film, that TV miniseries It, came out a year after Home Alone 2, which, you know what I mean, because both Home Alone and It features Tim Curry. And also the fact that Kevin McAllister recorded his uncle's singing in the shower song. Oh, come on. But also the fact that Kevin doesn't realize that he has the credit card. I mean, he does know that he has a credit card, but the fact is, his parents realize he's got the credit card because Kevin has his father's bag. And then the part is where one of the airport securities was like, does he have that credit card? And Mr. McAllister was like, credit card, money, cash, everything. And the guy was like, well, you better notify those credit card companies immediately, because we'll definitely get a location on it when and if he uses it. Because here's the thing, because credit cards like this, it will definitely go on a transaction record, knowing like who uses it, like basically like who used the credit card and where did this transaction happen. So basically it is happening in New York City. So now they got a location. They were able to get a location on him, which was the Plaza Hotel. And the parents found that out uh, in the middle of the film, when they were watching when they were in Miami, Florida. I believe it's Miami, Florida, and they were watching It's a Wonderful Life on TV. They got the phone call. They got the phone call from the police from the police, and they were able to get a flight to New York City. So, which was actually pretty nice. And of course, later on down the film, Kevin McAllister was able to check out Duncan's toy chest, meets with the owner himself, Mr. Duncan, who's going to deliver the money to the children's hospital, and then of course gets the two turtle doves, and then on top of that, Harry and Marv shows up because they recognize Kevin McAllister basically from the name behind his bag. So yeah. So yeah, and Harry and Marv chases Kevin down through New York City, obviously getting slipped over by a bunch of necklaces, because Kevin McAllister bought a necklace. Should have held on to one for his mom, because those necklaces is probably a good Christmas gift too, if you know what I'm saying. But the necklaces has those little beads that can slide off, and Kevin McAllister was able to do that. And of course, Kevin McAllister meets up with Tim Curry, who found out that Kevin McAllister stole the credit card, because first of all, it was his father's credit card, and Kevin McAllister committed credit card fraud. And then Kevin McAllister got scared of Tim Curry. Tim Curry's character runs through the hotel, almost gets caught by two of the hotel clerks, particularly Rob Schneider and the lady clerk, and the lady front desk clerk or something. But of course, they were stopped by Kevin's old trick in the book, fooling the hotel employees that there is basically somebody else in the room, from Angels with Even Filthier Souls, because Kevin McAllister was watching a film within a film called Angels with Filthier Souls, which is basically a callback to Angels with Filthy Souls from the first film. And boy, did that sequence hold no punches, because this gangster guy who is talking through this whole sequence with Tim Curry. Well, not in person, but if you know what I'm saying, because from the other side of the room, if you know what I'm saying, it's just hilarious too, because Kevin was able to pull this off, knowing that it's a funny prank, but also the fact that this gangster, the lead gangster who from Angels with Even Filthier Souls, whoever the guy's name was, who was that guy? Johnny, Ralph Foodie playing Johnny, the gangster from Angels with Even Filthier Souls. Just imagine if that was an actual film. Like, Johnny is telling Tim Curry's character, Hector, or concierge, the concierge, that he was up at Kevin's room last night, and I smell you getting off the elevator. You were here last night too, wasn't you? And then he goes off by saying, you was here, and you were smooching with my brother. Basically, he thinks, basically, knowing the fact that Tim Curry was completely in shock and confused, because Tim Curry's character, the concierge, was just up there just to check in with not only Kevin, but he thought that it was his father up there. But it seems like he's pretending that Johnny is Kevin McAllister's father. I mean, but then he keeps going and going, saying that the concierge was smooching some of Johnny's like well-known buddies, like Snuffy, Gale, Leo, Little Mo with the gimpy leg, Jinx, Donny Bob, Clip, and then this last part, Cliff, because one of the officers who was with the concierge and the other hotel employees, his name is Cliff, and I got a huge laugh out of that because seeing the name Cliff, the police officer Cliff, and the Cliff is like, it's a lie because he thinks the concierge made out with this guy. I was like, holy cow! I mean, wow, the '90s were definitely a different time. The '90s were definitely a different time, if you know what I mean. Yep, you definitely know what I mean. But I do like the next part where Johnny holds out a gun, holds out his Tommy gun. It's like, get down on your knees and tell me you love me. And then the concierge is just embarrassed right now. Like even though he didn't do this stuff, he didn't do all this stuff, but it's just a prank. It's just a prank just so Kevin McAllister could just leave the hotel safely instead of being caught, even though he gets caught by Harry and Marv later down the line with Harry having the M logo on his hand because his hand was burnt in the first film. But before that, Johnny was able to shoot the entire room with all the other hotel employees ducking for cover, and then Johnny was like, 3, because he counts on 2 first and then ends with 3 and says, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals, and a Happy New Year. Kevin walks out with a smile on his face. Obviously enough, Kevin McAllister gets caught by Harry and Marv, but somehow this lady throws in some super punches in front of Harry and Marv. Kevin escapes, but somehow gets lost in the park during the dark. And this is where the part where it gets really, really dark. Like, I can understand where some critics are criticizing the darker tone, because it's basically like the end of the second act going into the third act. It does get pretty dark. Well, because it's nighttime, yeah, I get it. But it's just the fact that Kevin is lost in New York now, and he's seeing all these strangers in the dark. Like, they're basically like creepers. Like, jeez. Like, he even bumps into one that says, "Watch it, kid!" And then meets up with two female smokers smoking away, saying, "Hey, looking for someone who needs to read a bedtime story?" Started laughing, and then it meets up with a taxi driver who looks like a literal Frankenstein's monster. And then Kevin McAllister leaves, ends up in the park, who actually meets some pigeons. And he was able to use one of his cookies that he got from the hotel to feed the pigeons. And of course, he meets the pigeon lady, and he meets the pigeon lady earlier on in the film, but he meets the pigeon lady again. The pigeon lady is being played by Brenda Fricker. That's her name. That's her actual name. Brenda Fricker is the actress playing the pigeon lady. And at first, Kevin McAllister was scared because knowing the fact that he thought that she was creepy. But no, not really at all, because it turns out they both have a conversation at Carnegie Hall during a Christmas concert, and they were able to share their side of the story. Kind of similar to Old Man Marley in the first film, because in the first film, Old Man Marley was basically he's basically not a bad man. He's just basically a nice man who has a troubled past, and I can get that, even though despite the rumors about what people may think of Old Man Marley. But and that's another similarity, the fact that why some people criticize the film, because of the similarities to the first film. Not only with the traps and the fact that Kevin is all alone, but also you meet this person who you think is a total monster jerk, or not what he or she seems to be, but turns out to be a nice person in general with a troubled past, and I like that. And I like how they were able to share their stories, like the Pigeon Lady and Old Man Marley. Now, after that, Kevin McAllister is walking along. Well, actually, before that, he was able to reach his uncle's house, Uncle Robert McAllister. That was the house or apartment on the street that's being renovated, although not at home because Kevin McAllister doesn't realize that it's being renovated. But then obviously he does go to the park right after that, and I already mentioned that. But then he goes by a children's hospital with the Christmas star, and he remembers this quote from Mr. Duncan saying, "All the money in the cash register, Mr. Duncan will deliver it to the children's hospital." And then you hear Marv saying, "And then at midnight tonight, we'll hit Duncan's toy chest," because Marv just spoiled it to Kevin McAllister. And then we get the famous music from John Williams, the Carol of the Bells mixed with the traps theme, because Kevin McAllister is setting up the booby traps at his uncle's renovated house. He was able to build the traps, and what did you know it? What did you know it? Obviously enough, you get the whole trap sequence, and my favorite trap, obviously the flamethrower, but this time, Harry gets blown up by it in the toilet because Kevin McAllister used some flammable liquid that blows everything up. It was so funny. Marv probably gets the worst out of it because Marv gets hit in the head with a brick 4 times. And look, I realized that in real life, he would have been dead. Marv would have been dead in real life with those bricks. But it's a movie. Sometimes you gotta turn your disbelief off. And this is where some of the critics are basically criticizing because of the slapstick and the violence that is being presented in the film, particularly with the traps. I think this is the point in time where you kind of need to turn your disbelief off. Even there was even a YouTube reaction from a doctor who actually reacted to many of these traps, and it's a pretty funny. It is a pretty funny YouTube reaction too. But I can get it where people are saying like, yes, it will kill you in real life, but in a movie, this is a movie, so it's kind of slapstick. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, with all the traps being presented, I mean, Marv got the worst out of it because he got hit in the head with bricks, fell off like 5 feet into the basement. I mean, gets hit in the head with a bag of flowers, and of course, obviously, Harry and Marv falling like many feet below to the bottom of the street, with barrels of paint falling on top of them. And of course, they were able to catch up with Kevin McAllister. But on top of that, Harry had a gun. Harry has a gun that ends up at Central Park. Yeah, they end up at Central Park. Harry is about to shoot the little kid with a gun. And oh boy, yeah, with a gun like that, and just imagine if it was cocked. That would have been a PG-13 rating right there instead of a PG film, if you know what I'm saying. But on top of that, before that very next part where the bird or pigeon lady rescues Kevin, we cut to Kevin McAllister's parents at the Plaza Hotel, where Kevin McAllister's mom gives a good earful to the concierge, saying that, "You scared away my son, and it's Christmas Eve. Because of you, our child is lost in the biggest cities in the world." And she gives him a good slap, too, at the very end, when she was about to go find her son Kevin. And it's basically funny because Mr. McAllister told the concierge after he said, like, "Believe me, your child is lost in one of the biggest cities in the world." And then Mr. McAllister was like, "Could you please stay out of this?" Because the McAllisters had enough with this guy. And then Mrs. McAllister had enough, so she slapped the concierge in the face because of the fact that he scared Kevin away, because Kevin's a child, 12-year-old child. Although, yet again, or no, was he 8? No, he was 8. I think it was 8. I think he was 8 years old. Maybe 9. I mean, I don't know the age. To be exact. I mean, obviously, Macaulay Culkin was about 11 or 12 years old when this film was made, I guess. But on top of that, I mean, on top of that, Harry and Marv did rob the toy store. Even Kevin McAllister give a crazy seesaw trap where it sends Harry flying in the air on top of a car, breaking his back. And that was before all the trap sequences happened. But then, flash forward to the park where Kevin McAllister was about to meet his demise. Thankfully, the pigeon lady, shows up and comes to the rescue by throwing bird seeds at Harry and Marv, and all the pigeons attack Harry and Marv, basically pecking the bird seeds off their faces, leaving with a boatload of feathers on top of them. I also like at the very end where Kevin McAllister uses the fireworks to catch the police officer's attention. The police arrest Harry and Marv. Marv drops bombs by saying, like, "We missed the presents. Oh, I'm sorry. We were robbing Duncan's toy chest." And then Harry was like, "Shut up, Marv!" And then a pigeon comes out of Marv. And it's funny because now he drops another one where he's saying, like, "We just got out of jail 9 months ago." I guess those 4 bricks to the head kind of gave you concussion there, didn't you, Marv? Mm-hmm. Yep. And then obviously Harry and Marv are arrested. Kevin McAllister was able to be found by his mom at the Rockefeller Center. You know, that Christmas tree at the Rockefeller Center in New York City. And of course, Mr. Duncan was able to. I guess Mr. Duncan was able to get the money back from Harry and Marv, because Harry and Marv did steal the money, but I guess the police were able to retrieve it and return it to Mr. Duncan so he could bring it to the children's hospital. But Kevin left a note on a brick because Kevin McAllister was trying to stop the bad guys from robbing the toy store, which, to be fair, he did succeed. Although I don't know if I didn't know if he was able to get the bag back, but I'm pretty sure he did, because I heard Mr. Duncan saying, "I'll make sure to deliver the money to the children's hospital immediately." But he was able to read a note apologizing to Mr. Duncan about the window, and of course, he thanking him for the turtle doves as well. And hey, if anything, if Mr. Duncan has assurance, Kevin McAllister will be able to send money from Chicago to New York if that's the case. And I like this little moment where Kevin and his mom were able to see each other again. They both apologize, and of course, spend the night at the Plaza Hotel. Wake up to Christmas morning, seeing all the presents, and it turns out all the presents were from Duncan's toy chest, because Buzz noticed that many of the presents, and one of the presents that he was about to open was from Mr. Duncan. So yeah, and then we do get a nice ending, very nice ending, with Kevin McAllister and the pigeon lady at the park, where he gives her the turtle doves, and that was a very sweet ending. And then of course, Rob Schneider's character comes up to the room with the bill. It turns out it was Kevin McAllister's bill from when he was at the hotel, because Kevin McAllister ordered room service and spent over $900 on room service. And then the film ends with Kevin being shocked and runs back to the hotel, and then you get the music from John Williams being played in the background, and the credits roll. Yeah, simple as that. And I guess you could say, I mean, I still like the film. I'm pretty sure a lot of people still do, but I can understand why some people thought it was more similar to the first film, because there were definitely similar elements from the first film that are being played in the second film, so I can understand that. But also, sometimes you gotta really turn your disbelief off too, because one, it's a movie. It's a movie. Particularly, when it comes with the traps. And when it comes with the traps, I mean, I get it. Traps like this that Kevin McAllister has will kill people in real life, but in the movie, this is a movie. This is a movie. So you kind of need to turn the disbelief off. And I can understand where people are coming from with this, but at the same time, you gotta turn your disbelief off and just realize you're watching a fun Christmas film. Despite its flaws and similarities it has, Home Alone 2 is still a fun Christmas film, even after 30 years later, and I still like this film. I mean, I like Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister. I mean, surprisingly, this was his last time as Kevin McAllister because in the other Home Alone films, they're just different actors. And I mean, I get it; it's a nice little change, but still, I consider Home Alone 2 as the best sequel in the Home Alone franchise overall. In my opinion, I mean, the other actors are fine too. Catherine O'Hara is still fine as the mom, John Hurt as the dad. Still like Harry and Marv being played by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. And of course, I mean, Brenda Fricker as the pigeon lady was fine too, and I like many of the performances in this film. John Williams' musical score in this film still holds up. I love John Williams. I love his music in the Home Alone films. Chris Columbus and John Hughes did a fantastic job with this film. I mean, to be fair, despite its flaws that this film has, it still holds up pretty well. And other than that, I think that's basically my take on this basically breakdown Home Alone 2. I mean, what did you all think? I mean, did you like Home Alone 2? Did you think Home Alone 2 is better than all the other Home Alone films? I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comments. So anyway, this concludes Codo Cinema Christmas Month, and this also concludes the 4th season of Codo Cinema. And I will say this, it's been a wild ride for 2022, but you know what? A new year's coming in. So anyway, I hope you all listening to this were able to enjoy this. We're able to get a few chuckles in, maybe a couple of laughs, and maybe something, a little something to listen to, when you're not doing anything. But I thought, I thought I'd like to, I thought I'd like to present this podcast because it's fun to do a podcast and express your own thoughts and opinions on what you think about different films, and of course different Christmas films as well that are being played during Codo Cinema Christmas Month and outside of that as well. So anyway, for those of you who are listening, thank you all for tuning into Codo Cinema, and also have a Merry Christmas, have a Happy Holidays, Happy New Year's. Codo Cinema will return in 2023, and as always, I'm your host Mark Codo, aka Codo Man. Remember to watch movies and stay positive. Have a Merry Christmas, have a Happy Holidays, and 2023 is about to come in pretty soon.